guys, how are you? I just want to touch base with you guys and talk to you guys about a couple of things. We have a couple of things coming up. We have the Mediated Values essay. The rough draft will be on the discussion forum by tonight, and also you will give feedback to two other students on this rough draft by Friday. These are both big components of the 1301 course. This is one of the major assignments, and feedback is something that we're going to continue to do over the semester, and especially since this is an online course, and even if it wasn't, this is a very big part of 1301. So for the Mediated Values essay, first of all, this is my favorite assignment out of the ones that we're going to do this semester. It is the most personal. It's the most creative. So once we get past this, we're going to get into summary and analysis. So if you're a creative kind of person, this is going to be the assignment that you like the best. Also, I think Caleb said something about how when writing is personal, it's better for feedback and better for writing. So this assignment is for you, Caleb. I really like this one because it's the best way for me to get to know you guys. There are three components of the Mediated Values essay. It's a value, it's a medium that shapes this value, and a personal connection, why this value is important to you. So this is the way I get to know you guys. When you tell me what your values are and then show me a little slice of your life by telling me why it's important to you, this is very personal. This is like a bigger introduction. And I got some beautiful essays last semester, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys tell me about yourselves. Also, this is kind of a low stakes assignment. I said it was one of the major assignments, and yes, it is, but it's only 10% of your final grade. It's also it's short. It's 500 words. So this is about 1 page single spaced, 2 pages double spaced, roundabout. Check your word count. But it's also, if you meet the minimum requirements, you will get an A. So this is great. You don't have to worry about your grade. You just have to worry about what you're saying. So I'm really excited about this. So don't stress about that, I think, is my main message. Don't stress that this is your first assignment. Don't stress that you have to put your writing out for everybody to read it. So one of the things that's missing from the online course is we didn't get to really talk about those 3 articles that we read. The difference a mutant makes, Girls Feel Stranger Things Too, and the World Book. I didn't want to add more discussion forums because you guys were already doing so many, but I did want to talk to you a little bit. A couple of you mentioned the World Book. So in the World Book, his 3 components, the World Book is his medium, right, which is the encyclopedia, and his value is knowledge, and he has a personal connection. He shows you his family, right? And his family values silence, and they don't really want to talk about things, and so he doesn't always know what's going on. And so this is why the knowledge from the encyclopedia is so important to him, because he doesn't get it in other parts of his life. So by showing us a little bit of his life, he's able to show us why things are important to him. And this is what you guys are going to show me and your fellow classmates. So if you're at all worried about this assignment, go back over those 3 articles. Try to identify in each of them what the personal connection is, what the value is, and what the medium is. And this will help you to draft your own. Also, notice that there isn't a set order. Each of them have it in a different order. So it's up to you which order you want to put it in, as long as you have those 3 components. So think about your own information and think about the best way you think would be to present this information. Okay, so this leads to feedback. We watched a video of Bill Hart Davidson about Describe, Evaluate, Suggest, which is a great way to do feedback, and that's the way we're going to do feedback in this class. So on Friday, when you're doing it, I want you to do, like, I want you to write out word describe, put a colon, and then describe what you see, what you read. And then do the same for evaluate and do the same for suggestion. I want to see all three components. So often people think the describe part is unnecessary, right? You're telling the author what they told you. Why even worry about it? For me, as a writer, and I've been writing for a long time, this is the most important. I frequently think that I am being clear when I'm not. When people don't see things the way that I think they should. I'm writing too fast, I accidentally forget to put something in, or I'm just not as clear as I thought I was. So having people tell me what they think they read is actually really helpful because often it doesn't match what I think they read. So don't skip this part, right? So for the mediated values essay, a good way to do is to write those three components, right? What is their medium? What is their value? And what is their personal connection? Tell them what they told you so they can see if it's what they think they're saying, right? And then evaluate. So when you're evaluating, go and look at the prompt under the Unit 1 where it says the word count, that you need a title, all the little things, and let them know if they're reaching these things, right? If they don't have a title, tell them, because that's something that will keep them from getting an A, right? If they have 350 words, point out, hey, this is great, but you're not meeting the minimum requirement here, which means that you can't get the A. And this is how you're helping them out, right? You want them to get the A as well. So tell them how to get that if they're missing something. And then that leads to the suggestions, right? If they are missing a title, that's your suggestion. Put in a title, right? If they are, so if they have met all the requirements, then you could say something like, I really liked this one sentence. If you feel like elaborating on that part, that would be great. That was really interesting for me. You can find ways to make suggestions without making it seem like they did something wrong. That was something that came up in the discussion forums, pointing out what people did wrong. And that's not really what we want to focus on. We're not focusing on right and wrong. In writing, there is no right and wrong. This isn't math, right? There is whether or not there's lots of different kinds of writing. Does this piece of writing meet the requirements in the prompt? That's really what we're looking at. So I don't want you guys thinking of it as right and wrong. Also, to add on to that point, we are not going to comment on grammar. So please don't comment on grammar or that kind of thing. The only time I want you to comment on grammar is when it really gets into, it really keeps you from understanding what the writing is saying. So you could say a comment like, I found your sentences a little confusing. If you shorten them, that could maybe help. That's a good suggestion, right? But if you say you have a lot of run-ons, or that's not a good piece of advice, or that's not a good piece of feedback. You had a lot of misspellings. That's window dressing. It's not important. It's also, I divide between revising and editing. Revising is the content and the structure. Editing is the grammar, right? We don't do that right away. We focus on the ideas first. So we want to revise, we want to work on revision, not editing. So don't worry about grammar. Don't give people advice about grammar. So to get more into feedback, a lot of people are scared of giving feedback. I think Jennifer said something in the discussion forum about how when she was a drum major, she had to figure out the right tone so that it didn't come off like she was scolding somebody. And that's a lot of people's fear, right? Jennifer was in a position of authority over her fellow band members because she was a major, right? And she had to give feedback. But you guys are equals. You guys are not in a position of authority over each other, so you might not want to say, hey, I know what I'm talking about more than you do. And I understand that. But you have to think about it as, I'm not telling you how to do things. I'm trying to help you to get better, right? So also, I think Peter said something like, are we willing to listen when somebody does give us feedback? So this is a couple of things, right? There's a couple things I want to say about this. First of all, you don't have to take somebody's suggestion. If somebody says something and you disagree, don't take that suggestion, right? If one person out of 5 tells you something and gives you a piece of advice, you can weigh that piece of advice and decide whether or not you want to take it. If 5 people out of 5 tell you the same thing, then maybe that's something that you should adopt and think about. At least know that there's a problem there if everybody is talking about it. So there is, you do need to weigh the pieces of advice you get and decide which ones you want to follow. But yeah, that's just part of feedback. Some people see things different ways. As we all know, we're all different people. So also about feedback, there are 2 reasons we give feedback. We want to help each other, but we also want to see how other people do it. When we give other people feedback, this is called giver's gain. We see how they do it, so we see a different structure, and then we can see both things that were like, oh, I did that. You know what? I don't like the way I did that too, but I think it would be better this way. Or, wow, that's a really great way of doing it. I wish I'd done it that way. Next time I'll do it that way. This is, in my experience, that is almost more important than getting feedback, is just seeing the way other people do it. And then the more you see, the more you get to know lots of different aspects of ways to do this, right? So feedback is very important. We'll come back to it. We'll do it all semester. So if you guys have any questions, please post it to the forum or please ask me. But remember, for Friday, you want to do the describe, evaluate, suggest. Also, getting into the discussion forums. So on the discussion forums, you do an initial post, about 200 to 300 words on average. This one's going to be 500, right? Because it's the rough draft for the mediated values essay. If you consistently do about 100, you're going to get probably a little lower grades on this. If you also need to respond to 2 people. If you respond with a, hey, great job, love that, one sentence, you're probably not going to get full points. I want you to, if you do want to give somebody a random compliment, do it, but do it in addition. Don't do it in as a substitute for your 2 responses. If you want to do comment on 15 of them and have them be short, that's good. But if you're only commenting on 2, then you really need to put some thought into it. Let's see. So also for the discussion forum post, for this one, follow the directions, because you are going to make sure everybody gets the same amount of feedback, you are going to respond to the 2 people who posted previously. If you post first, you're responding to the 2 ones at the end, before the due date, before the deadline. Not everybody posts on time. So just do the ones before the deadline. If you post after the deadline, you might not get any feedback. I am not going to really respond to this one. I'll respond to the one on Friday. But really, I want to see how you guys do the describe, evaluate, suggest. So that's one of the reasons I'm going to step back and let you guys take charge. And see how you guys do. Because this part is, the media values essay is really important, but also it is a way to get into the feedback portion of the class as well. So that's what I'm going to be watching, how you guys give feedback. So a little bit more on the discussion forum post. So we didn't have a day where I went over the syllabus. Hopefully you guys read through everything and you read through the discussion forum expectations, which is great. You guys have been doing so great, I have to say. I'm so happy this class is so proactive. You guys are, I already feel like I know you, even though I've never seen you in person. Um, but there are a couple of people that are posting a little bit late. Their posts are a little short. They might not respond to people. So in case you haven't seen it, the discussion forum posts are 40% of your grade. This is more than any other assignment. If you get behind on this, it could result in the failure of the class. If you don't give this the credit and the time that it deserves, it will affect your grade. Let me just say that. So if you are posting, this is not just one person. This is a couple of people. It is definitely the minority in the class. It's not everybody. But there are a couple of people who are posting several days late and they're not posting responses. This will affect your grade. So please pay attention. This is 40% of your grade. This is worth more than any other component, any other assignment in the class. And it's because the daily work, the daily coming back and working on it is the most important part of developing any kind of skill, right? I don't know if you guys know that I'm a hippie, and let me just say, it's all about the journey. It's not the destination. The rhetorical analysis paper is important, but not as much as you coming back every day and doing the discussion forum post. This is worth more. That's why it's worth more in the syllabus, and 40%. So, also, I need to keep on top of the grading. So I'm going to try to do the grading as soon as possible. So while you can do the initial post up until the day that the responses are due, if you don't do the responses on time, I can't wait for them because I don't know if you're going to do them late or if you're just not going to do them. I have to grade them. So I'm going to grade them as soon as I can. And if you haven't done the responses by the day that you're supposed to do the responses, you probably just won't get credit for it. Now, there are, 3 of these a week for the next 2 months. So if you miss 1 or 2, it's not a big deal, right? Because there's so many of them. But if it, over time, the habit is going to show up. They're all worth something, but they're all worth just a little bit. So if you miss 1 or 2, don't worry about it. It happens, right? But if you consistently miss some, it will affect your grade. So please just pay attention to that. So, anyways, sorry for this long video. I'm so excited about this course. I'm so excited to see your mediated values essay. Please post any questions if you have them. Put them on the course answer forum, course question and answer, or put them under, any of the relevant forums. Somebody told me that they not emailed me through my email address, but messaged me through Blackboard. I did not get that message. So if you have messaged me and I haven't got it, please email me, right? Because I haven't gotten any emails that I haven't responded to. So anyways, let me know if you have any questions. I am so looking forward to your essays, and it's been great meeting you guys over the last week or so. So good luck, and I'll be back on Friday to talk to you about the next section that we're moving into. Okay, thanks guys.